Defining risk, variance, and volatility. John is standing in his factory, looking at a stack of orders from 3 different countries. On paper, his business is worth more than ever. But for the first time, John feels a knot in his stomach. Last month, a sudden shortage of microchips doubled his costs. This week, a social media influencer praised his keyboards, and sales tripled overnight. John realizes that while his average profit looks good, the day-to-day reality is a roller coaster. He used to think of profit as a guaranteed number, but now he sees it as a range of possibilities. John has just encountered the most important concept in all of finance: risk. As Breely, Myers, and Marcus explain, risk in the financial world isn't just about losing everything. It is defined as uncertainty. It is the measure of how much the actual outcome might deviate from the outcome you expected. To manage his keyboard empire, John can no longer rely on gut feelings about danger. He needs to put a mathematical number on the chaos. He needs to calculate variance and standard deviation. John sits down with his laptop and looks at the monthly returns of his business over the last year. Some months he made 10%, some months he made 2%, and one month he actually lost 5%. The first step John takes is to find the average return. He adds them all up and divides by 12. This gives him his expected return, the baseline, but the average doesn't tell the whole story. If 2 businesses both have an average return of 10%, but one always earns exactly 10%, and the other swings between minus 50% and plus 70%, they are not the same. The second business is much riskier. To quantify this, John calculates the variance. He takes each month's actual return, subtracts the average return, and squares the result. By squaring the numbers, he ensures that negative dips don't cancel out positive peaks. Every deviation adds to the total measure of risk. The variance gives him a sense of the spread, but the number is hard to visualize because it's in squared percentages. So, John takes the final, crucial step. He takes the square root of the variance to find the standard deviation, also known in the industry as volatility. Volatility is the X-ray of John's business health. It tells him, on average, how far his actual results are likely to stray from his expectations. If John's expected return is 10% and his volatility is 5%, he can reasonably expect his returns to fall between 5% and 15% most of the time. However, if his volatility is 20%, his 10% average is almost meaningless. He could just as easily end up deep in the red as he could in the black. John realizes that volatility is like the weather of the market. High volatility means a storm is brewing. Low volatility means clear skies. As a business owner, John is risk-averse. This doesn't mean he avoids all risk. If he did, he would have never started the company. It means that for every extra ounce of volatility he takes on, he demands an extra ounce of expected return. This is the fundamental trade-off of the capital markets. To visualize this, John looks at a probability distribution. He imagines a bell curve where the peak is his 10% average. The wider the bell, the more volatile his life is. If the bell is narrow and tall, his future is predictable. John realizes that his job as a CEO is to try to narrow the bell for his operations while shifting the peak to the right toward higher returns. He looks back at his microchip shortage. That was an unquantified risk. Now, John decides to keep a risk premium in his bank account. He understands that the market isn't just paying him for his keyboards. It is paying him for his willingness to stand in the middle of that volatility and manage it. He isn't just a builder. He is a risk taker. Breely, Myers, and Marcus point out that while we use the past to calculate volatility, we are really trying to predict the future. John knows the past year's data isn't a perfect map, but it's the best compass he has. By defining risk through variance and volatility, John has stopped being a victim of uncertainty and has become a student of probability. He closes his laptop, the knot in his stomach replaced by a sense of calculated control. He knows the roller coaster will keep moving, but now he knows exactly how high the peaks and how low the drops are likely to be. He is ready to play the game of finance, where the prize goes to those who can measure the wind before they sail.